Do you have the list of questions with us?
Yeah, it's right here. Like, my phone's kind of blocking.
Hello world.
Oh, this is too close.
More
Here,
specific.
scoot down, scoot down.
Keep on this side, yeah. More specifically, hello Perkins. Good to see you.
Yeah, there we go. Can you pull them up on your phone?
Yeah, let me get a phone.
Because I can't read that
Do you
part.
have to turn in the video?
Yeah, we have to use it in our project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta show like the classroom and stuff.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So
Oh, yeah, I'm about to
look
have you
cute.
show
Fix
it.
your beanie. Make sure you look good because you'll be. Yeah.
I'm about to be famous.
Did you share it with me? Yes, you did. Let's play ball. All right.
Can you send me an email so I can share that with you? Sure. Just like,
What?
I need your email so I can share that document.
Oh, okay.
Do I look
I'll,
good in this? Let me
I'll
see.
text my email later.
Do you mind if I move this out of the frame?
Um,
All right. Solid.
okay, so we were talking about,
The festival.
yes.
Yeah, we're done with the festival.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add in that festival. Megan Berry came and she gave like a speech, so it was pretty cool to have her there. I guess.
During her brief tenure as a
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually not appropriate for our. How far? I'm sorry to ruin this edit, but how far in the questions did you get before?
We talked about where his parents were from, why they moved here.
Where my parents work.
Yeah.
Would you mind just like going over it real quick because then like that'll help me.
Yeah, just tell me which ones.
Yeah, well, just like bulletproof. You ready? It's like speed dating. It's like what part of Kurdistan are your parents from?
Okay, we're from like, my mom's from really South Turkey, so like borderline South Turkey. And my dad's from like the really northern Iraq part, and the villages are literally like a mile away, and they met through like meeting halfway from those villages, I guess. So it was kind of always mutual. Like they always knew each other.
Are your parents a part of the same like socioeconomic class in Kurdistan?
Are you talking about like languages and stuff?
Well, I'm talking about like as far as like social structure. Like here in America, you have like middle class, upper class, and then lower
Oh yeah,
class.
yeah. They were both villagers, so they.
What does villagers mean?
Villagers? They weren't wealthy at all. Like my mom's family had no money. My dad's family had no money. They literally like lived off the land over there.
Wow.
So they barely had any electricity or anything.
So was that the reason that they wanted to move to America?
No, they were running away from Saddam because he was killing a lot of Kurdish people, and there's like so much going on there. So what happened was my parents they ran up north into a city called Diyarbakir, and that's in southeastern Turkey. And then American troops came over there and they took them in as refugees. So after that they like took them to Dallas, and then they moved here.
Wow.
And I think they asked in the last question, why they moved to Nashville. I guess some Kurdish dude with a really big family decided to move to Nashville, and everybody else just followed him, and they just thought it was like a good place to live.
What's one like Kurdish tradition that your like parents like carry over here? Like it could be even like the way that you like set the table or like.
Oh
eat or anything
yeah,
like
there's a
that.
lot. We love to dance. We have a lot of our own cool like dances, and whenever we have like a lot of people coming over to eat and stuff, we usually like we eat on the floor. We don't eat on tables because there's so many people. You know, we got a lot of people, big families. So we eat on the floor. We still eat our own like at my house right now. If I were to go home, we would still eat Kurdish food. We keep a lot of our traditions.
What's your
us.
favorite dish for Kurdish food? And describe it to us like in detail.
That's a hard one, man.
What was the last Kurdish thing that you ate?
I don't know how to say it in English, but it's something called ipros, and it's basically like it's a leaf wrapped in rice with has like some veggies mixed in there.
What you call it?
We call it iprox,
No, but no, I haven't.
but it has like your choice of meat. Sometimes we put chicken, sometimes we put like beef, and there's like a whole bunch of them assembled on a plate, and we just pick out and eat it from there with bread.
So then, with your parents moving here from Dallas as refugees, you have been born and raised an American, like all throughout your life.
How long have your parents been
My parents came here in '91, and I was born in '96.
What is one thing? Did you have any realizations like when you got into like this? Did you do public school?
Yeah.
So was there anything that like the first time you realized that you're like, man, my parents are foreign? Like,
Yeah, like
have you ever? Because I always hear like my
Yeah.
friends that come from different cultures, they'll be like, yeah, I didn't realize how weird that was until I went to public school, and I was
Yeah,
like, whoa,
like-
my parents are foreign.
like up until I was like 5 years old, I only spoke Kurdish. I didn't speak any type of English. I didn't know no English at all. So like
Wow.
I learned English as I went into kindergarten, and that's how I learned English. So I felt like I was different because I didn't understand anybody at my age during that time. So it's pretty cool adjusting.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
So like, what are some things that like you found like American kids doing that you weren't doing, or like that you wanted to do?
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. We don't celebrate Christmas.
Are your parents religious?
Yeah, they're Muslim. Yeah, they're pretty religious and like pretty. They're not strict, but they're like they follow like the beliefs. Yeah, like what most people do over here, like Halloween, Christmas and stuff. We don't really like celebrate all that. So
Did
I
your
found
parents
that
let
they
you participate in like anything?
yeah they would let me participate if I wanted to, but we like as a family didn't celebrate that kind of.
'Cause I remember in elementary school, like my mom, anytime we had like Christmas coming around, like I remember we had to take pictures,
Yeah.
and everybody had the Santa poster like posted
Yeah.
up there, but they had to switch mine to like snowman and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you are at an advantage with being a part of the Kurdish community here in Nashville?
Advantage in terms of what, like?
Like, have you grown up with like a lot of other Kurdish people around you?
Yeah. Since there's a lot of Kurds in Nashville, I have like the advantage that the Kurds in the other parts of the United States don't have. Like we still keep our beliefs like hard. We keep our traditions hard. We have our own like what's the word for? We have our own like slang. You know what I mean? Like say there's like a trend going on in Kurdistan, it would transfer over to here and we would know everything. Whereas a Kurd in like Wyoming wouldn't know anything. They would like
Because they're just not connected to
yeah,
it.
they're not connected to any of that stuff.
Would you consider Nashville sort of like the epicenter of Kurdish like culture here in the United States?
Yeah, so I would say out of Kurdistan and like on like this side of the hemisphere of the world, we probably have the biggest Kurdish like community and the biggest like everything when it comes to anything involving Kurdish people.
Do your parents still vote when Nashville
Yeah.
opens up the polling station?
Yeah,
That's something I've always thought was
Yeah.
insanely cool. Is that Nashville like is in the South and has this like Bible Belt culture, but then like we're still like metro enough to be able to offer that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, they still vote.
Oh, all right. So it's like some of the other questions that we have. I'm assuming, do you like shop at Kroger's and everything like that?
Yeah,
Here's my question: are there any with like being Islamic? There are restrictions for your diet, correct?
yeah, just pork.
Just pork. So
Pretty
what is
much.
it? So you just
And no alcohol. We're not supposed to really drink any alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
So does that carry on? So that's all of your life. So I'm not asking you to like expose yourself, but like is that?
I've eaten pork and yeah.
Oh, he's like, yeah, I've had a beer and sat back and ate a rack of ribs. But I'm saying, does that have any type of contentiousness as far as like in America? When I grew up, I was drinking in high school.
Oh yeah.
So like, is there a big deal as far as like temptation, as far as like drinking in high school?
Well,
Or
alcohol,
even in college?
No, alcohol is like I don't even need alcohol. Like pork, the only time I would ever eat pork is if it's on accident. Really, throughout my lifetime, I've never like intentionally eaten pork.
You never like went to Martin's Barbecue and was like, I want a half rack of ribs.
Nah. I don't have any temptation like for that stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Probably same for her, Mira.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, these kind of so like our last couple questions don't really apply because like some of the things we're talking like how do you make friends with Americans or others besides Kurdish, but then you're born and raised. You're just like every other. Well, did you get raised here in Murfreesboro?
No, I was in Nashville.
What high school did you go to?
McGavick. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Where is the major like populations of Kurdish people in Nashville?
I would say around Overton High School.
Yeah,
That's where
see, I was
everyone-
zoned for Overton High School, so
I was
for
like
sure.
one of the few Kurds in my school. We only had like 6 Kurdish people in my school.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I had some friends that go to McGavick. McGavick is like a very black and white school, from what
Yeah.
I remember. But
It's
yeah,
like black and white, and then a few like other people.
yeah, exactly. Whereas like I went to Hume Fogg downtown, so it was like white
Yeah.
and white and Asian,
Yeah. The smart people.
and then white. Yeah.
That
So,
was fun.
well, dope. I'm trying to think. What was your first impression? Oh, that's actually something we can talk about. What did your parents do for a living when they came here to Nashville?
So when my dad first came here, he was a bricklayer. When my mom came here, she like cleaned like where downtown. You know downtown.
Yeah,
So
I work in downtown. Yeah.
Yeah, so she would be the person that would come and clean the carpets and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, she did that for a while.
Like a Jenny Clean type person.
Yeah. So and then my dad worked in the airport for a little bit, I think, and then.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that there's like a lot of Egyptians and Kurdish people that work at B&A. Like,
I don't know about Kurds, but I do know about Egyptians.
yeah, so I have a friend who works for United, Michaela, and she works at their front, and she said that it's just straight Egyptian and Kurdish people there.
Yeah, they do work there a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my dad worked there for a little bit, and now he like just sometimes Ubers around. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, where a lot of Kurdish people get their money from what I think is, before my parents left Kurdistan, they bought a piece of land. So that land, like, the value goes up every year or whatever. So they just been kind of investing in that kind of business. So it's kind of like an investment.
What I was gonna ask, what has been the trend of Kurdistan lately? Like, obviously they fled from Saddam. What has it looked like since then? Because I'm not well versed in Middle Eastern like history, and I know that because there's so many immigrants moving here, whatever is happening in the Middle East is directly influencing the culture and the attitude of the people here. So is it a good time for Kurdistan, or is it a bad time right now?
Okay, I think right before ISIS became a thing, it was a good time. We were so close to becoming a country. We had a vote to where like each person in Kurdistan voted whether they wanted a country or not, and then we had like a 99% saying yes, they wanted a country. And then the USA took acknowledgement to that, since we're allies with US, and we were like so close. And then what ruined all that was ISIS, and what our like troops pretty much are all fighting ISIS. We're taking out a lot of them on our own, and we're not getting any help.
So do you find like the ridicule of like Islamic like terrorists and like nationalists being just idiotic, especially here in Middle Tennessee?
Yeah, I would say like on my viewpoints on terrorists is like really it's anybody that just hurts anybody. That's like the terrorists from Islam are the extremists who don't know the correct meaning of the Islamic book, the Quran.
Or maybe they weren't given the correct meaning at the beginning.
They're too extreme on it. Like, say for instance, I can't even give you an example, but all I know is they're really extreme on it. Just like kind of how KKK is really extreme on that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same exact thing, pretty much, except they're like the Twin Towers thing was obviously a really bad thing towards.
That's crazy, because I think in our culture, the Twin Towers thing almost doesn't even like. Of course, it holds weight, but it's like it's almost something before our time. Because like, how old are you now?
Like 22.
22. So you were how old when the Twin Towers happened?
Probably like.
It happened in what?
It happened in 2001.
2001.
Yeah.
So I know I was 3 years old, and I'm about to turn 20 tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, so I was like about 5 or 6.
Yeah. So,
I couldn't remember it though.
But for me, I was in pre-K. So this whole Twin Towers thing, like, you know, I actually had a buddy, Ahmed, and I told you we actually have a mutual friend, Sarwar Kakoy. Do you know the Kakoys? Sarwar or Ar Harami?
Harami, I know the last name, but I would have to see him.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
He looks completely different from high school. He grew his like little beard. He looks really good.
I would have to see
He started working out finally. Like he went from like.
Did he go to Overton?
No, he went to Hume Fog with me.
Fog?
We always joked he went from like being like Aladdin in the streets to like Saudi in the streets. like that's what we always said to him.
Do you know who Zana is?
Yeah, Zana. He goes to UTK now.
Zana and Sarouche.
Yeah, Sarouche. What was their rap name when they were in high school? They were like, they had a rap name, and they were absolutely god awful. And they had this like rap that they were supposed to do for our talent show at our high school.
Really?
And then like 5 minutes before they went on, they like somebody reviewed it, like a teacher reviewed it, and they were like, "There's no way you can say this in front of the whole school." So they had to make up this like other rap, and it was just terrible, like crickets. Like people were just like, "Get off the stage." But Zana was on the soccer team with me.
You play soccer?
Yeah.
I did too. I don't know if we played y'all, but we did not play y'all.
You played for McGavick?
Yeah.
I think y'all are a division up from us.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if we have any more questions. You think of anything like crazy, like off the top, you want to ask? Oh, here's the thing. What would you think would be the largest? Actually, what do you think is the biggest obstacle for Kurdish Americans in Nashville?
The biggest obstacle?
What's the
And
biggest?
Kurdish immigrants.
Yeah. What do you think? What's the biggest thing that your parents, yourself, or like Kurdish people complain about all the time?
Okay, well, my dad, he always talks about wanting to move back over there since right now it's more stable than it was back then. And since they were born there, it feels more like home to them. So my parents they see life over here as a routine lifestyle, you know? Like just go to work, pay bills over and over again, whereas over there it is like you do less of that. So I think they're kind of missing that lifestyle, and it's kind of like difficult for them. Even being here for like
Super long.
decades, yeah, it's still hard for them. And my mom's family, not any of my mom's family lives here. They're all over there. So she would like to see her family.
Do you think that's something that they would retire into, maybe?
Probably. I mean, my dad really likes it there. This is his home. He wants to go back.
I mean, that would be like you growing up here.
Yeah,
And
because
then-
I want to stay. I want to stay here.
Yeah, and then moving to like Brazil.
Yeah.
And you being like, I would love to go back to that
Yeah.
that place I grew up and spent all my time and made all my childhood memories in.
Well, what you will find a trend of is a lot of old Kurdish people that are here right now. When they know like they're in a hospice or whatever, when they're about to die, they move back to die there.
Is
So
that because more family would be able to attend any funerals that they have?
that, and they just have this ego thing where they want to die in their homeland.
Yeah.
It's like a little.
I mean, that makes sense. I'd want to
Yeah.
die in America.
Yeah, like you don't want to die in Japan or
Yeah.
Like I don't want to die in some random hospital in like Germany. I want to
Yeah.
die like in Vanderbilt Medical
Yeah.
here in Nashville.
Yep.
Fair enough. Well,
What are
dope,
some-
dude.
What
Wait,
are
keep
some
going.
things that like your parents usually complain about, like Americans?
What they complain about here?
Yeah.
Or what they
Or, like, the
what they would
people-
complain about you
Yeah,
adopting.
that too.
Like what's
Oh,
something that they used to
they-
just ride you on all the time?
Well, my choice of language when I talk to them is a big thing. They would like for me to talk to them in Kurdish, so I don't forget my roots.
Interesting.
That's one big thing. I say that's pretty much it. That's what they've been getting on me about.
Are you gonna do that to your kids?
I would like for them to know Kurdish, but I'm not gonna tell them what to speak. I'm gonna tell them like what they're comfortable with speaking. Like if they want to talk in English, I'm fine with that.
So if you're raised here, you have to think that like kids hate doing like extra work, so they're most definitely gonna speak in English.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I would also like for them to know Kurdish. Like I would teach that to them, just for them to.
Here's another thing. So like as far as like social prejudices that we have, like what do your parents expect you to marry?
That's a pretty good question. They prefer me to stay in my culture, but at the same time, I don't expect them to control who I date. So
Are they of the mindset that as long as you love them, or is it like you better bring home an
that's a big
Islamic
thing.
Kurdish girl
that's
right
a big
away?
thing, and another big thing is a Kurdish girl would be a lot easier for everybody else, like for them and everybody else, because everybody knows each other and you're more relatable. But like they can't really talk for me, you know what I'm saying?
Because you see it more, so you have more of an individualist approach. Is like, yeah, it may be easier for everybody else, but like this is my life.
Yeah, it's not their life to control.
Do you think that if you grew up in Kurdistan and that like you grew up more into that culture, you would still have that individualist mindset, or do you think
That's a good question, man. Honestly, couldn't tell you because I didn't grow up there, but I do think about that a lot. I would think like, are the Kurds down there as like open to other cultures than us? So
like if you showed up with like a Daisy Duke wearing like a blonde hair, blue eyed like southern girl
Went back
into
to
Kurdistan,
Kurdistan.
like wait, would your parents just be like, what the
my family,
hell? Yeah, like
say if I took one to Kurdistan with me, right?
Yeah.
My family down there, they'd be accepting. They'll be nice. They'll be nice about it.
So what if you brought one home to your parents?
here's a question though:
Yeah.
Are they nice about it because they don't want to disrespect you? So like when you like say you have to deny somebody, like somebody asked you to hang out and you didn't have anything planned, so you're like, cool, yeah. But then you got 2 tickets to, like for myself, you got 2 tickets to the Predators game with somebody else. It's on the glass. It's at the same time that you're supposed to hang out. How would you deal with that situation? Like, how do you think that like your parents would deal with that situation? Would you be more direct and be like, listen, Tom, I know we said we were gonna hang out, but it's 2 seats on the glass. Like I've got to go. Or would you be like, Tom?
Honestly, that's a good question, man. Honestly, my last viewpoint for that kind of question is, I am allowed. Like, I'm not like they want me to date a Kurdish girl from their hearts, but they can't control it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how to answer your question, to be honest.
Fair. I was just wondering if people were when you grew up, did you have a lot of privacy?
In terms of what?
In terms of like, were your parents just like
Like,
basically like putting a saddle on you every time you came home and like riding
no.
you on everything, or they were like, oh hey, see you later?
My parents are good people. They just want me to like get my education and get everything set, and then like, so they weren't like raising me to be like some closed-minded brat. You know what I mean?
Were they strict on you for curfew?
Yeah.
Were they?
When I was a little kid, yeah. But
So like, what things were
high
they
school
strict
now.
on you for?
What was one thing they were strict?
Like you growing up.
Don't go out and party. Like kind of like anybody else, don't get a girl pregnant. Stuff like that.
Hey
You
man,
know?
literally, I'm less than 24 hours away from escaping teen pregnancy. Like, I feel you.
Yeah.
Like,
It's stuff like that.
were they difficult on you for academics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not difficult on me, but they were like.
Was it like, if you don't get an A,
No,
you
no,
already
no.
know that you're getting your butt beat
So like,
when you
what
come
are like
home?
some expectations your parents have set for you?
You know, every foreign parent wants you to be a lawyer, a doctor. If you're not one of those, you know, you're not successful. What my parents see it as, just do something like you like doing, and as long as you enjoy it, you know, they're cool with it.
Would your parents be considered more westernized than other people in your family? Or more liberal than other people in your
Other
family?
people in the community, like the Kurdish community.
My parents are more open-minded than the rest of the Kurdish community. I'm happy for that. My dad's a little bit more cultured than my mom is.
What do you mean by cultured?
Like,
Like he's been more places?
yeah, he's seen more stuff and done more stuff than my mom. So like,
He's not as sheltered, maybe?
yeah. So, and my mom's more like if you talk to my mom and my dad, my mom has like, you guys can probably talk to my mom better than you can to my dad. She's more like open to English speaking, stuff like that.
So like, what is it for? What was I gonna say? Like, what is it like for like other people in the Kurdish community whose parents aren't as strict?
But yeah, there's some Kurdish parents that are really strict on their kids. You know, like there's like, especially on the girls. I feel bad for Kurdish girls because some parents are so strict on them. They don't let them do nothing. Like they don't let them, especially if you find a Kurdish girl dating a white guy.
Ooh,
That's a big
I
thing.
was that white guy at one point. So I can definitely.
Okay, so you know how. It's
Oh
like.
my goodness, I
can
can
you
attest to
elaborate on
that.
I'm
So,
really want to hear that.
You dated
Wow.
a Kurdish girl?
yeah, dude, I met her at a hookah bar one night. I was at a hookah bar. I still have her Snapchat, actually. I'll Snapchat her after this, see what she's up to. But yeah, we like went on a couple dates, and she could not say anything about it. Like, if any of her parents asked, I was just helping her on a group project that we had. Like, we could never be on a date.
Yeah, man, it's
Date,
tough.
like, the D word was not okay. Like, you could not say that. You couldn't text it. You couldn't Snapchat it. Like, never bring up
Y'all
the D
probably
word.
couldn't even be alone with each other. For
Like the guys, we have more freedom than the girls for sure.
Wait, that's funny
I don't know
because
why.
the narrative that you painted with your parents is that you said that your dad was more cultured and that
Yeah.
your mom was more sheltered.
Yeah.
And that kind of fits sort of the stereotype that they force the women into.
So like,
even
is it
here
like
in the
that
New
over
World.
there in Kurdistan too,
What
where
do
the
you mean?
guys have more freedom?
Yeah,
than
guys
girls?
have more freedom in Kurdistan. I feel like it's like that in a lot of places in the world. We're just guys, you know, even over here, guys are more powerful than women.
Is Kurdistan, how strict is the, like, is it very structured, the social hierarchy over there? Because, like, when I think of the Middle East and I think of, like, women in the Middle East, I always think of having the headscarves over them. I always hear, like, women drive in Kurdistan? Because
Well,
I don't want to,
yeah.
like, broadband, like, I'm sure there's one, like, pocket where all this happens, and that's not the full Middle East. I just want to know what Kurdistan is like on like.
So
women's
what's
point of view?
what's different from Kurdistan and in a lot of places in the Middle East, whereas you go to Saudi, the women can't do shit over there from what I've heard. And Kurdistan is more like lenient. We're more like women can do anything they want just as long as they like cover themselves, and like if you see a girl walking on the street without a headscarf over there and like she's dressed in like some booty shorts and stuff, everybody will look at her as a hoe over there. That's just how it is. But women can do stuff in Kurdistan. Like they can drive, they can vote.
Go to school.
Yeah, they can go to school. They can do anything they want. Just that as long as they keep it respectful with the scarf.
Interesting. That's even with that. Do you think that there is like a very patriarchal mindset for Middle Easterns and like Kurdistan people in general?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and this is a quote that I was talking with Sarwar, and we were some of his Kurdish friends. I don't know who they are, so I can't name them. But they were talking about women, and I was like, yeah. Sarwar was even like, yeah, like if my wife got a job and she complained about it, like, hush up, woman, like I didn't tell you to get a job, like. Yeah. And that's funny because like even here in the New World, that is sort of something that is carried over. I've seen.
Yep.
Well.
Do you have any questions?
No. I'm bad at asking questions.
That's okay.
We got him he's a pretty face. We keep him on camera for girls to look at.
I'm gonna be famous.
Alright,
Well,
I think that's it.
That's all we need. Yeah. But hey man, dude, thanks so much. Seriously, you saved our grade.
Thank you.